Elevation and love, y'all. I am at it again. We are in the wee hours of the night or morning for some people. And I was thinking about this transition between distance and height with the swing arms. And I was looking at how some parts might have been, a little too aggressive as far as thickness. And in many ways that we could make this ride height better, and I'm going to show it to you today. Um, without that being said, I'm going to get into this. Let's just jump into it, man. I don't have a whole lot of words to describe how I feel right now about what we need to do for this build, but let's just jump into it. Let's see. All right, so I was playing around with the opacity on this car yesterday, and one thing I came aware to was the area where the knuckle meets the swing arms, right? And I got to looking at how much meat I put into the knuckles. And I started thinking to myself, do we really need that much uh, reinforcement on the knuckle when we really need the distance for the swing arm? And it became aware to me that if we are going to get this thing to bottom out and to stand up strong and tall, man, we really gonna need to change some things about this design here. And it came to me. So today what we're gonna do, it's gonna be a quick one. We're gonna shorten up this knuckle, right? Because we don't need this much meat for this knuckle. We're gonna shorten the knuckle up, and then we're going to extend the height of the knuckle. So we're gonna go the whole base of um, the length of the rim, right? We're gonna go the whole total length. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna give us more play for up and down motion. It's going to increase our bottom out, or not our bottom out, but our extended height. I don't know about how much, but it's going to extend it a lot. Okay, and so that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna just jump right on in. I'm gonna just do my thing. Don't hold me to it. I didn't erase any of these folders to bless you. I didn't extend any of those. I didn't get rid of any of those folders. So we're still where we are. But what I want to do is chop this back. We're probably only going to get like 0.3. It's probably all that we do need to create that distance between the wheel and the knuckle. If that, we probably can get away with going 0.25. So let's do a 0.25 for the and that measurement is going to be between the inside of that polygon, right? From this surface here to the outside surface of that wheelbase. So let's go over here. We're going to get rid of that wheel for a second. And we're going to cut this in. And we're going to take a quick measurement of the distance. We can go from this corner edge here. And so we select that corner edge. And then also we can hold shift and select that outer edge. And it'll give us how thick that area is. So we're at a 0.41, right? It may be a little shorter than that because it's kind of off centered. Another way we could have did it was measure the holes as well. We could have measured from this hole to the other hole. We might get a different measurement. This is probably the best way to measure it. So we're at a 0.4. A 0.4, we can cut this down. We can cut it down to 0.1, right? Or we can cut it down to 0.15. So we'll take our extrude, just like this, extrude, and we'll go negative, and then it's going to be a 0.15. We'll cut that out, right? Or because it is going to cut like this, I forget about these weird shapes. Instead of doing that, we're going to have to use the push-pull tool, right? We're going to have to come up here and utilize that press-pull. We'll use the press-pull. Negative 0.15 is going to push it back without chopping a straight square into whatever we're looking at. All right, so we cut that back, right? We have that at a good amount of space. Now our next goal is to add some height to this width here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this thing up, and it's because we put the fillets in here already, right? And it would be a hassle to kind of go through and find out where those fillets were. You know, sometimes you can find them, sometimes they're inside of the records, but sometimes you have to go back so far to find where those fillets are. So we're not gonna worry about it. What we can do though is take the top portion up, move the top portion up to where we get that the height going for that wheel. Right, so let's take a quick measurement of where we at right now. So 1 and a quarter, pretty much. 1 and a little bit over a quarter. I want to get this thing to a nice height. The wheelbase that we had was, I think it was 2 inches. Right, mistake, 1.6. Okay, 1.6. We most definitely could chop this in half and then push up, push down. We could do it like that. There's so many ways that we can do this. I think what I want to do is move the wheelbase. I want to move, I'm going to position the wheel higher to line up with the base of the bottom of the swing arm, or fairly close to it. And then we'll go ahead and bring up the rest of it. We'll move that swing arm up, and then we'll get our extension out for that. So let's see. Go for the move. We'll move this up 0.1. Let's try 0.15. Because what I'm thinking about is that, so we're going to have tires on this wheel, and I was thinking about this, and I don't know why it came to me just suddenly, Uh, but it came to me, you know. And when I thought about it, my mind just was like, my mind was blown because I wasn't thinking about it before. So to get that type of aha moment it's amazing to me because I wasn't thinking about this design. It just popped in my mind, and here we are. So I move up 0.15, right? This is this one's gonna have to go higher as well. So we're gonna move this up. I wonder what ones are we restricted. Uh, Top swing arm move up. Okay, we move that up a 0.3. This is going to give us some good stuff, right? What we're gonna have to do is chop that down the middle though. So let's get rid of this swing arm here or that bracket for a second. Um, we have to find a way to offset and chop this in a good place. Right? Now what I'm thinking that we can do as far as the chop is to do an offset. So we can choose like this side of this wall here. We can go up to construct. We can do an offset planes, right? That's going to give us a long plane that we can move. We're going to push this to line up with wherever we want to make this lay. I don't want to cut through the holes. I kind of want to preserve that. So we're going to offset it just slightly so that we can cut this portion. We're going to hit the OK button. So now we have this plane off to the side. We're going to get rid of the areas that we don't want to cut, like the servo mount, and we're going to cut, right? We're going to select these two surfaces that we're going to cut, which is going to be the front or the top and the bottom swing arm. If I don't want to select, I know y'all can't see this, but you can select more than one object that's not next to each other on the list by holding the control button instead of the shift button. And that'll allow you to select, multiple things that are not in line with each other or that are not in the same file. So we're going to have the top and the bottom swing on. We're going to go up here to split body. And we're going to select for our cutting tool is going to be that plane that we created. It's going to chop those in half just like that. Now, we're going to move all three of these now that we have these chopped out like that. We don't have to look at that construction plane anymore, so we can get rid of it. Then we can move these three over to where the wheelbase is or where the wheel is. So let's move those over now. We're going to select those. So that top, not that one. So top and bottom swing arms. Let's see. We gotta figure out which part is what part now. So that's the one. So this one here and this one. Hold it out. And that knuckle. That. And we're gonna move all of those. Select this arrow here. And usually if you click on the surface, it will snap to it. But I think we cut out, I think it was a 0.15. So really we can just move this negative 0.15 and that should put us on the money. See? You just have to, sometimes you just got to remember the numbers. So we go in this direction, right? Now, as far as this portion here, we can get rid of these so we don't end up selecting them to be joined together. We'll get rid of that, get rid of the knuckle. And then for these, we just make sure they're not touching anything else. Like the frame, since that's touching the frame, we have to get rid of the frame. Because once we get to tying these in together, it's going to end up getting selected and becoming one with that part. We don't want that. So we're going to extrude to that side. It's going to be joined. We're going to hit the OK button. We're going to do the same thing over here. There, extrude, select that side, hit OK. It's joined. We're going to make sure that, see, we got some lines at the bottom that didn't fancy us at all. We're going to select these, extrude them, right? Extrude them. And then we got to cut them out. If there's a better way to do this, and there's some people in the chat that knows how to do this, let me know. Because this is how I do it, to get rid of those weird lines, so I don't end up with jacked up geometric shapes in my printouts. So I'll remove that and remove that. So I got that one set. One down, one to go, right? So what this does is it's just gonna add a length to what we got here. And then this is gonna go from the top and the bottom. Oh my God. Why does it act like this to us? Let me see if I do it this way, will it make a difference? Nope, it don't make a difference. Hey, it's all good though. So we're gonna extrude. Same difference. Go to the top, cut it. Oh. I wonder what happened that caused it to not want to chop that top side. We're gonna see. Maybe there's something else extra going on here. Maybe let's get that going there. We're gonna figure it out. I always do. So I guess there was just those two. They wanted me to get rid of both of those sides. Oh man. You can't make it up. Sometimes it's so random. Yeah. But the beauty of this is that you only have to do this once. Once you get that good cut, you usually don't have that problem again with that surface. Somewhere in the geometrics, there end up being a problem with it. All right, so and what that did also was that gave us a little space to deal with this spring area, having a lot more room to play around. So right now, currently we're at uh, inch and a half height, a little over inch and a half height. So this gives us a lot more play for this swing arm to just rip down and give us fully extended height. The next thing we want to do is work on that knuckle. So let's bring the knuckle back. There's a lot of things that we can do to make this knuckle work. Let's see what is the best way that I know how to make this work. We just really gotta just think about how would it work? How would it work? How do I get this to work? But one thing would be to cut it down the center and redo the geometrics. You know, redo that whole thing. But also I'm thinking about how so how we designed this would be from the standpoint of if the vehicle were turning, but because the vehicle doesn't have to turn, technically this mount could have been even closer to the wheel and not have to be offset like this. That was another thing I was thinking about as well, as far as flipping the geometry and just having a straight up and down vertical hole system instead of having that over there. It would be over here, but then that would just defeat the purpose of having a Mark 1, right? So what I could do is redraw it out. And so what I'm thinking is fill in the hole again, right? Just fill this in, split it down the middle, and do the rest of the other works to it, you know. Take it from there. Let me see. This is exactly what I was explaining in one of the videos where you start designing, you put your fillets in a little too early, and when that happens, you end up having to do crazy stuff to the design to get it back working right. But let's see if we select these well, or hold on, let's go back. Let's undo what we did. Sometimes if you try to fill it an area that you already filled, you know, is it totally? Sometimes if you try to fill it, it will populate the numbers that you already used to fill it, and all you have to do is press 0, and it will give you the previous thing. So hopefully we can make that happen just by selecting the fillet line that we already have and going in and trying to fill it again. But if that don't work, then we're just gonna rebuild it. Okay, we'll just get rid of this part and rebuild us another one. And then we'll just have this on the side just in case if we want to go back to what we designed previously. So we'll hit the fillet, and it does not give us, it's not going to give us what we want. Because why would it be that nice to us? If it was that nice to us and it was going to be that easy, yeah. But it's not going to be that easy for us, so it's all right. All right, but that gives us the idea that we can do something else with this idea. Okay, and then we can just go based off of that back portion that we already have here. All right, so trial and error, right? Trial and error. We're going to take this area here and we're just going to extrude it. We'll extrude it, we'll get rid of the knuckle, and we'll press this out until we get, into that area there. And if you want to check and verify how close or far you are from that, what the original part was, just make it visible. It's not going to make a difference. But you can keep checking back. Right. Zoom in will give you a little more leeway. So that's at a 0.54. So we can take it to a 0.55. Or 0.50 even. Right? Let's see. I wonder why I said a 0.50 though. Maybe that's because of what we did with the so we'll make it into a new body. So it doesn't do anything crazy on us. Right? So it lays in right where we were at. So we'll go ahead and take that portion away. We'll hit our OK for a new body. And then we'll extrude this out to top and bottom of those swing arms. We'll go ahead and do that. And we'll extrude it down, select that area. Make sure it says new body so that it doesn't get added to those swing arms. That's a common mistake I made a lot in the beginning stages of learning CAD, is that I would, extend and forget to create a new body. When that happens, man, it just opens up a whole can of, I don't know. I don't understand why I keep getting these lines. The lines drive me nuts. It doesn't make sense. But the lines are so random. All right. Even more crazy that we still have those. Oh, you know what? I wasn't thinking straight. These just have to be joined. So we'll take these three bodies, right? I'm gonna join them together. I don't know why I wasn't thinking this. Maybe it's just too late for me. You know, maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. All right, but then we got these. I don't know where these bodies are. Oh, they're part of the swing arm. Swing arms 1 and 2. All right, so let's get rid of those if we don't need them. All right, you gotta take that away because that can't be on the video. There you go. Yeah, it can't be on the audio. So I'll let you chill with me. And remove that. All right, so we got this. We are going to tap our holes in now. That hole is not going to be there. We're going to have to move that hole. And it's going to line up with the center of this wheel here. Which I think may be like a 0.15 in order to move this up. And we can select that inner circle. We can hit the move or copy. We can reset the surface so that it'll move from a 90-degree standpoint. Sometimes these be off, and I'm not sure why they're off. That offset is not it. 0, 0. Give us a new base. Go from there. Just like that. Click the OK button. That gives us a new center point, pivot point in the upright position. And then we just find out where we were at. I think we're at a 0.15 where that hole sits center. Okay. Now we want to cut those other holes, right? So because we want to cut those other holes, we just pull the axle or the knuckle up from the previous knuckle that we have. We want to move this as well up by a 0.15. So let's take the body away for a second. Take that knuckle. We're going to move this up 0.15. There. 0.15. Lock it out. So now these holes that we have that's available. Actually, what I should have did was actually I don't need these two for those holes. I just need it for this hole here. This area here. Bring up that other piece right there. Extrude. I'm going to pull out and cut. Turn it into a cut. It's going to cut that that dimensions into that square there. Get rid of that front knuckle. Now we have the dimensions that we would have had from the front. Now for the holes for the other portion, we're just going to bring back the swing arms. We bring back the swing arms, top and bottom. We can cut our holes just like that. Easy money. Right, bring the top and the bottom back. Where's my bottom? Yep, bring both of those back. Cut the inner hole, not the outer hole for the bottom. So we'll just select this right here, the edge, and extrude. Actually, let me see. Okay, so that. I might have to actually draw this one. All right, so this is what's gonna happen. I'm going to create a drawing onto that surface of the square for the new knuckle. It's thinking right now. All right. We're gonna hit P for project. We're gonna undo the link on the projection link because we don't want it to link. We're gonna select those two circles, that one and that circle there. Then we're gonna hit the OK button to get those there. Now we got those there. We hit finish. Now we have this circle here and that circle there. We'll get rid of our top and bottom swing arms. You know, come on to the side, extrude that thing. The symmetric, cut it, cut the hole, cut those two holes. Now those two holes are set how we need them to be set, right? Man, I mean, I still kind of feel like we can chop this thing down a little more. So it wouldn't make, I mean, we made a difference by chopping it down this far. We really have. But we can do better. I feel like we can do better. Let me know if y'all think I could do better with this design. Because we got the swing arms now. We got these swings on. The swing arms are out pretty nicely. Right. Let's see. Let's pull this up real quick so we can see. Oh, where's the top? Where's the body that was working with? There we go. All right. So from the front standpoint, that swing arm is in a good spot. I don't want to lie to y'all. It's in a good spot, but it's like I still kind of feel like we could do better, you know? And maybe I'm just overthinking it, you know, because I mean, it happens, you know, sometimes you overthink it and it looks like it could be better and you want it to be better because you know, that's just part of the game, wanting it to be better. But you know, we haven't tested it yet, you know? We haven't tested it, and that's the big issue. I run into this problem a lot with myself. I'll design something, and before I have a chance to put it through any type of test, I'll redesign it. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with the way that it's designed. I would just feel that you know, there's a better way to do it, and then I'll redesign it. And then, you know, in the process, things just get switched up, you know, but man, I gotta get out of the habit of doing that because sometimes you can talk yourself out of a good design by not allowing it to simmer. So we got a 0.23. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carve these out just like I did the one at the bottom. Our distance, I think our distance was like a 0.2, a 0.13 is our distance. Okay, so we got a 0.23 at the 2. All right, too easy. We go over here. We get our 0.283, 0.23 for that side, and 0.23, 0.23 this side. Finish out the drawing and extrude them into a negative 0.13. That gives us our countersink hole for this side. So this side be a countersink hole for the screw. Other side, or actually this side, is going to be a press fit. It's going to be a brass insert because we have an arm for it. Okay, so this is going to be point. I want to say it's a 0.15, but I know it's not. Let me find my brass inserts. Or do I got it in a note? I think I got it in a note. Let me see. My brass inserts at a 0.2. So at a 0.2, we have to make these holes that are going to need brass inserts. Now, we're at a 0.15. We have to push these out. So at a 0.15, and we got to get to a point 0.2. So that means we have to push these out, and we got to cut that in half. 5 cut in half is a 0.025. Let's try that. Let's push out by negative 0.025. And that should give us a 0.2. Ooh, my math is mathing, y'all. Hey, it ain't never been like this. My math is mathing right now. That's a good vibe. I dig it. My math is mathing. That's not often though. Negative 0.025. Yeah, my math is mathing right now. And then I guess we can keep this going with this here too. Insert negative 0.25. And then up here on this side, same difference. These are things that I had to catch myself and make sure I'm doing, because sometimes I forget these things and I'll go all the way to print phase. I'll print it out and then I'm like, damn, how come the screw isn't fitting? And it'll just be like one hole that I forget to make sure that I change the dimension. Now one hole creates the difference. All right, let's bring that the servo mount back. So I think I'm gonna have this to be the press, the heat insert side here, so I can have the screw and yep, yeah. So this is gonna have that as well. Let's go. Press it. Negative 0.025. All right. So now we gotta reline up this hole with this. You know, another thing that that happened because we moved that. So let's see how we can do this. Let's get rid of that, and that. Let's chop it from here. Split the body. We're going to take it from the top side. We're going to split the body up there as well. Split the body. Or actually, let's do a plain offset for this side here. All right, yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. Like so, for this side, we'll do a plain offset. And this thinking. And then we're going to bring it down to that little space in between. .5. Yeah, I try to get me an even number here. That 0.5 is a nice number to start at for that plane. And then it just helps us to, when we're extruding, to have that number right. If we can get that number right, then we don't have to worry about, you know, being off by any kind of 0.00 whatever number. Because that throws off the whole thing when you're off by 0.00 something or 0.000 something. It's hard to get around once you make those mistakes. Let's see. Now we're gonna split this body, this top one here. So we gotta gather. We gotta grab this area, split that body. Select that plane as our tool. If we come up here, we can kind of see the plane that we created. Now we can disappear that for a second. I think that the hole we created, we're gonna move it up. We moved it up 0.15. So we just have to move this stuff around 0.15. So negative 0.15 to move it higher. That part here, moving this up 0.15 should line us up, but sometimes it can be a little more challenging than that. But I mean, I'm on the mark tonight. Let's go 0.15. And let's see where it lines up with that other piece that we had. Wherever it is. That servo body mount thingy. No, let's see. Swing arm. It was a swing arm. Upper swing arm. Swing arm. Yeah. Is it by a 0.3? It might be about a 0.3. No. But yeah, it's a 0.3. Okay. So we went up a whole 0.3. We're going to take the swing arm away because we're going to join these two pieces. And when we join those two pieces, if that swing arm was there, it was going to get joined into. We're going to do that. So we move those two up. Hey, man, my boy. You making a whole lot of noise. You making a whole lot of noise. We don't need that. We don't need all that noise. We're going to join those together. Bam. And now we're going to extrude. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this edge. You're gonna go to bed. That's what's gonna happen. You shouldn't even be up right now. All right, we're gonna cut this so we can get rid of that little lip right there, but we don't need it. Remove that. We're gonna bring our dope piece back. That piece is dope. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's not that piece. Right here. Okay. All right. So we're gonna bring this piece down, and hopefully this piece lines up because that other piece that we deleted was part of this piece. But if not, if it don't line up, it's okay. We'll make it work somehow. So we'll extrude it. We'll bring it up to that portion there. We'll join it in. Yep, of course it didn't line up, but we still got this small lip here that we can zoom in and we can extrude it. Okay. And we can make it work. And we made it work. Hey, we made it work. We made it work. All right. So now we done updated the swing arm adjustment part that we have. Let's have a look at it, where we at with it. We're gonna have to redesign this area here, this one to match, you know, the other side. I think like this arm has a fairly good meat to it already, so we're probably just gonna have to lift up that hole and bring it up that way. I think that's what's gonna happen for that. Let's bring the swing arms back and stuff. Or swing arm, the knuckle. Well, not that knuckle. The other knuckle here. The swing arm. That's the frame. Got that. The swing arm. All right. So this is where we're at now. All right. So we got the knuckles to line up right here with the swing arms. We extended out the swing arms a little more. I think so. We got a 0.15 more extension. We got more height here. As far as being able to bottom out now, we're looking at having to cut this portion back on the frame. So this frame, this circle is, we're gonna have to get rid of this circle and go with something a little higher, a little tighter, so that we can have a better bottom out now. But from where our wheel is sitting, where's that wheel? Wheel and the body, and mind you, our tire is going to add about a 0.3. So with adding a 0.3 to this, because it's going to add a 0.3, we're going to get a nice tuck into here. But we're still looking at that ride height changed a whole lot with us moving this up, but also that downward travel is going to be worth the while, you know. It's gonna make a huge difference to have this amount of space between the swing arms. It's gonna give us a lot more room for the dance activity that's happening. So now that we have that, we're gonna have to go back in and mess around with the frame a little more. Because the frame actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to even cut the frame all the way back. Because now that we have the servos in the back, there really wouldn't be a reason to need the front portion of this unless we're going to be uh, using it to mount the body to the frame. I'm not sure how Derek wants to mount, or if he wants to use like magnets or drill a hole and have a stud to, you know, do a Carter pin type situation with locking the bed in, or the body in like that. I'm not sure exactly how he wants to do it, but may not be necessary to have this front part now. And if we can cut it short right there, then we can have that swing arm to just flow as it wants, you know. It can go down exactly however it wants. Let me see. We can push this back, you know. We can push it back to right where this is. I don't know why this offset didn't act like the normal offset does. Um, Usually the regular offset will push this curve back naturally, but it didn't do that. Oh yeah, it did. It just didn't populate right. Well, I guess I stand corrected. So yeah, pushing that back, I mean, we would still have to cut this kind of weird though, so it doesn't bump. Mhm. Yeah, but we got, so we got that. We can go ahead and cut this one back as well. We're getting close to being finished with the front end. The back end, I think, is gonna be a lot easier because you're just dealing with trunk space, you know. In most cases, we're not going to be doing anything magnificent with the trunk space. When I'm designing for the front of the cars, I'm designing for there being a possibility that I might want to try something with the engine bay. And so I kind of leave as much space open in the front end. So if I want to design an engine, like a fake looking engine, I could put something in there and you still wouldn't be able to tell. But because we're gonna have the servos tucked away in the side, that's gonna make for a lot of play for us to be able to still put something down the middle. You know, we'll still be able to get, you know, an engine prop down in the middle of this thing. We got bare minimum space, but I mean, as far as creating like a shield, you know, like how like those C10 engines are built out where they have they have like fairings on the side of the engine where you can't see down underneath the engine. You know, if you design something like that, it looks really cool. You won't be able to see the aesthetics of like the servos and stuff underneath or the shocks, but it would make for a cool look, especially if those are like snap together parts, you know, where you have multiple parts that snap together, different paint colors and stuff like that. That stuff is pretty cool. So, and we just gonna clean these up now. Um, let me see. Let's get rid of the. So this is, we gotta rename this. So we're gonna name this front knuckle 2. Front knuckle. Front knuckle 2. So we got 2 different versions of the knuckle. The first knuckle is shorter than the second one. It has a little more aesthetics to it. This is just a straightforward mount your wheel down to it, and that be that. And then we'll add a little aesthetics to it. Where we at with it? Where we at? Where is the swing arms? So I can add some fillets in there and make this thing look like something. Fillets there. And hopefully we don't have to come back to this part. That we will need to undo these or, you know, do something crazy with it. So we got that. Here, this side here, we can, let's see if we can fill that flap. Or actually, let's do the other side instead of this side. I was gonna do the whole side. I don't want to do the whole side. We're gonna try it again. I'm gonna try it one more time. One more time. With that, get the fillet. Well, it's not going. Oh, it wants to do the edges. So maybe what I should have did was do the fillet for this side first, and then, oh no, it's gonna. Man, I thought I was gonna get like a bow from the inside. Like I was gonna be able to curve this thing inward. All right. So it's not gonna let us do that. So what we can do, this don't necessarily have to be pretty looking. It just, at the end of the day, it just comes down to however you want to do it when you're designing. Yeah. We can get our we might be able to get, no, that line is not gonna match though. Let me see though. I may want to add more to the circle though. We're at a 0.3 on the circle. We could possibly give it more meat. Yeah, I think we could go 0.35. I kind of just want to make sure that these areas have got enough meat around there to carry that sturdiness. And then also, let's draw us a center point. Center lines from there to there. And then find that center line. Oh, put that right there. Let's draw that center line from there. Wherever. There. Let's just make it so I can make a big circle. Like a huge circle. From the edge. Right? That center circle there. So I guess we gotta find that number. 15 or 2.2. Let's try 2.2. 2.2. Let's see if it lines up with this. Nope, it don't. That's okay. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do then. Let's go back to a 2. Right, let's just make it a solid 2. Because I don't want to complicate it, you know? And we shouldn't have to complicate it. I'll make it a solid 2, and then we're gonna do whatever it's gonna do. Right? We're gonna cut this out from that actual shape. Right? And then these circles here are gonna get extruded out. All right, so we have that area there, and that right there, that area and that. We're going to extrude these out. We're going to extrude those out to that side there. It wants to cut it. We don't want to cut it. We want to join it. So we added a little extra meat there for that. And then for that bigger circle, that's going to be the one we cut out. We're going to take that right there, extrude, grab it from this side here. It's going to cut that surface out. Hit the OK button. Get rid of that picture. So now we have this cool looking shape. Now we can go in here and clean this up and make it look better than what, you know, put a fillet on it and make it smooth. On both of those, fill them out. Yeah. Okay. There. Same thing to the top and bottom. Fill it on those. All right, man. Hold it together though. All right, so we're there with those. Let me also, if we wanted to put curvature to these edges, we could as well. But I think that when I'm printing this on the bed, it's going to be from this portion here. This is going to be the flat part, and then it'll print going up into this side here. So I wanted to stay flat as much as possible on the bottom side. This top area is not out far enough to where it would cause a problem during the printing phase. Come on, my boy. What you doing? You all up in it. So we got a top and bottom. Come on, man. Come on down, man. Come on down. Come on, man. We ain't gotta be all that high. Yeah, you good. You here. All right. Don't do that though. Come on, man. And you gonna be up here with me. You gonna see. Is that the engine? No, that's not the engine. That's the swing arm. The swing arm's there. You got the knuckle. That's the servo, and you got the frame. Yep. Don't mess with those though. Come on. Okay. I'm gonna put you down. No, that. All right, and then let's see how it looks with the car. Yeah. On that front wheel. I think we're in a good space here. I think we're where we need to be. We're gonna have that 3.3 clearance for the tires. We got the frame out of the way, so we don't have to worry about those swings hitting that portion there. One thing that I did forget though is that top mount for this side of the swing arm. I know it probably was somebody that was screaming, "How are you gonna mount that if we get rid of it?" We're gonna figure it out. That's what we do. It's not the TAD. What? That's the TAD. No, what? Is that the point? This. This has to be here. I cannot. Is that the bed? That's not the bed. The bed. You ready to go to bed? Good. Oh no, I did it. I gotta undo that because I joined the servo mount to the frame or to the swing arm. So this has to be by itself. That right there. It's going to get extruded to that flat surface there. Okay. And then it's going to get pushed out to a negative 0.025. I'm mathing today. This is it's burned into my brain. All right, so instead of having this like this, we're gonna redesign how this comes together here. How that frame portion comes together. We're just gonna do that on the fly. We're gonna do it on the fly. We see how it was coming out right here. We didn't follow this line. We didn't need to in the beginning. We didn't need to. Let's get that servo mount up there. The servo mount comes in just at the top on a 0.3 thickness so that we can have a countersink for those screws to sit down in the top. We haven't put those holes up there yet because I wanted to see how far down we could take this. That will let me know how thick I can make this in order to get those countersink holes and still have enough thickness to make this happen. So it might actually be like a step. I might have to create a step where it bends down into that and then it comes up here and we'll still have enough space to bottom out. So that's part of what I'm thinking about right now. You're moving around a lot, my boy. Let's see. I could draw a new frame and then we can cut them like that. I think that's how it's gonna go. So let me see. Let's get rid of all of these. Right, just leave the frame up and so that portion there. We are going to get rid of the car for now too. I'm going to splice this. So let's go ahead and just cut this whole thing off. All right. Get rid of this one. Remove. Bring that servo mount back in. And then also the top swing arm. This is just going to give us a reference of where this frame is going to meet up with the servo mount, and then also how much space we're going to need to get this car to bottom out. We want to have enough space here to do all of that. The servo mount can be really, the servo mount could come from the bottom though. You don't necessarily need to hang on the top side. We can have the servo mount link at the bottom. Since it's like right there anyway. Yeah, I think that we could do that. We might go pull that off. Change the dynamics of this whole thing. Would give us yeah, so instead of coming in from the top side, all right, so let's do that. So let's cut this back. To this side here. Right, no need to have it anymore. Servo mount. Side here. Extend out to the edge of here. And then This is gonna be the first. I think this is gonna be a really cool way to have this servo mounted. Um, my boy, what are you doing? Um, Maybe extrude this one, or just push it up to this part here. That mount, I think that we can take the mount higher too, because I know that we were looking, we didn't have the frame all the way to the top of the vehicle as it was. So that could possibly be something that we do. Yeah, since we have that, we can actually push that back out the way it was. Because I know I moved the rails out previously. But we could, so we can move. And I'm glad I didn't design the back yet. I'm so glad I didn't design the back yet. All right, man. Come on, man. All right. Let's see. Let's move this part here. Let's do a point to point so we can get that edge there. And we can move it to this point here. And that moves that whole segment up. And right on the edge. Now we have this whole bottom. The frame is at a 0.4 right now. We probably we can, I like the print. I want to print from this side, but if I can't get from this side and I end up having to print from this side just so I can get a part of this bracket to go this way to actually get a mount, I could do that. Or I can put the hole here and have an insert inside of the frame here and have the screw going through this direction here. That's another option. Then from there, the mounting points for the body can be up here on the servo mount. These are all things to think about, like when you're doing this type of design, is most of your thinking is going to be how's the part going to function around other parts. How is it going to function around other parts, you know? Because sometimes it'll look good until all the pieces get next to each other, and then it starts to fall apart in some cases, like how you how you think it's going to act and maneuver. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way. So we have so this servo bracket is gonna be doing some high end performing. It's going to be attached to the shaft to the frame. It's gonna hold the servo. It's gonna hold the top swing arm and the bottom swing arm in place. So the idea is to make it sturdy enough to hold on to all the moving components that's happening. Um, and then also I haven't created any tolerance here for this to not be like right up on the servo mount. But we will get there. I'm sorry I haven't been monitoring the chat. Man, I got a good morning so far. I'm just I got in the it's what 4 o'clock a.m. right now. I just felt like I was in the moment, you know. I had an idea to extend these swing arms out and then it just turned into something else. I haven't been able to turn away from it since. Yeah, I think like so you'll never be done designing something. Even after the product is finished, you'll still have ideas about how to make it better. I think that's kind of like what I'm going through right now with the ideas that I'm coming up with as far as how to make this whole thing work. I just keep on coming up with more ideas of how to make it better. This part here, some of these I didn't think about. Um, I didn't think through straightly. Like this one here, insert this hole here. There has to be a hole here to hold that swing arm. So I got to go in and draw that in. So this one here, draw that there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take these holes that are already here and I'm going to project them. Press the P button, take those holes, that one and that one, hit the OK button. I'm going to draw another circle around that. That's going to tie those into this here. At a 0.35, I think that's the number I was going with. No, it's going to have to be 0.35. So 0.35. And yeah, so we're going to end up adding more to this here and bring that into there. All right. So let's get rid of all the areas that we're not working with right now. Let's bring the frame back for a second. Let's take the swing arm away and the knuckle. We're going to extrude that down. push that down to the bottom of the frame here. OK button. Go back here. We're going to extrude these. Get a circle in there. Extrude that. Give me a sideways position on this thing here. Click that side. Click joint. Hit OK. Then we want to get our inner dimension, which I think is a 0.13. 0.30. Yeah, 0.13. Make our sketch visible again. Go ahead and get that circle there. Extrude negative 0.13. And we have our in. Now, we're going to beef this up. Fill it. Should have made it as thick as that one. But I can always push it out if I need to. Fill it. Yeah. 1.2 on that. Not bad, not bad. Let's look at it with the swing arm. Swing arm. Yeah. Looks how it should. So the thing for this bracket here, what I may want to do is create like some sort of bin for the frame. Where the frame comes underneath and support. Because that might make more sense to me. So the thing is thinking about how would this part want to pull away from it, from the other parts, like the servo mount. In what way would it want to pull away from the frame? And that will give us the best way to mount it to the frame. Just by understanding how the force is going to pull against those the M3 bolts. So up and down motion will make this thing want to twist, right? So having an inner outer mount might be the best way to do this. Hold on, y'all. This boy is out for the count, so I'm gonna save it. I'll be right back. Let me lay him down. All right, I'm back. I'm back. That boy was overdue. He'd been trying to hang with me for the last couple hours. All right. So let's get back to this. Um, there's so many ways that we could make this thing sturdy. We gotta go back to the idea of securing that upper swing arm. We gotta have a really good way to do it. And um hmm that's the question. How do I want to do it? How do I want to do it? Let me see. All right. Hmm. So servo, maybe I should draw the servo. Maybe I should put that together so we can kind of see where those are gonna fall into place. Um, I don't really want to design a servo though, because that just would waste you guys' time. We're not gonna be 3D printing it, so I try not to design things that I'm not actually going to be printing because it kind of defeats the purpose. So that's why I've gotten really good at doing the measurements, so I don't have to worry about that type of stuff. Um, I'm at a blink right now. I'm thriving with the kid on my lap. I go to put the kid down, and now I can't figure out what my next step is. How's that? Let's see. Let's start out with this part here. Let's just tackle it. We might be able to get something brewing for this. Um, Let me see. So if I go servo, servo mount, and bring it back, get rid of the frame, and two. You can extrude this way, 0.6, 0.6 may not be enough. Mm, Let's go 0.8. Do 0.8, negative 0.8. Let's get rid of those swing arms real quick so we can get this. Join that. Right. Excuse me. That. You know, the thickness could be shared between the two. That's an option. That could most definitely be an option. Technically, this bracket here could pass for, it could pass for a 0.2 or a 0.2 and a 0.2. Let's do that. That might actually work. By having a notch out here that sits on top of the frame. That could, or on the bottom. Let's do that. I like the sound of that. What y'all think? I like the sound of there being an overlapping of that top and bottom frame. And then two screw holes that line up to create that. I like that. I think that's gonna work. Yeah. All right, let me see. That means I gotta go back to the drawing board. We have to draw on top of here. Get that rectangle out. Draw from that corner to that corner. And finish. Take that. We're at a 0.2, so we can push negative 0.2. 0.2. I five fingered that first. I five fingered that for real. All right. So that's I may not want to put it there though, like that, because that would make that part right there very fragile. Let's go backwards. Let's go back to the drawing. And let's bring it. It's gonna have to be here. So bring that across here. Right? And then we'll take this part. And so if we put it there, if we extend it out, it's gonna make that servo mount weak right there. And we don't need it to be weak right there. We need it to be strong. -0.2. All right, and then we'll take that portion there. We will extend bring the frame back where the frame is. Hold the frame right there. And we'll get rid of that body here. Put that there. And we're going to cut this loose. Cut there. Yep. So that framework, where we at? Servo mount, where you at? I gotta rename it. Servo mount. All right. So we got a little bit of element going on here. We can go back into that picture that we designed. We're gonna draw up the center line. Get some circles in there for mounting. And then from there to there. And then whatever our center point is up here, right here, in this center point. Okay. And whatever our center point is here. So we'll go ahead and put in point 12. Point 13. We'll do point 13 holes. Come on with the thinking. It's thinking on us. That one there. We're gonna mirror this. Got a center line there. Hit the OK button. And I guess we can add the countersink in already for the 0.2s. It would help to have had that before. There we go. So now we have those holes there. With it being a 0.2 though, we really not gonna need, technically, we're not really gonna need the countersink holes, but I drew that in anyway. Only that center hole going in, and then the bottom where the frame gonna be pushed out to I'm losing it now. I'm losing it. We're gonna cut both sides. Symmetrical cutout. In there. Like linear. All right. That. Those holes. Holes for the inserts. 0.13 is gonna make for a nice slide through. Heat inserts are gonna be on this side here. Or should it be on the mount? Man, now that I didn't did this, I'm mad that I wasn't thinking about this bracket mounting from the side, because that would have made possibly for this to be a lot stronger. But y'all know what? We can still make that happen though. It's not the end of the world, right? So what I could do is I could take that there, splice that side there, and then I can go those parts at right there. Take this right here, and I can split it again. Bring that other servo little thing part back. Take these two parts here, move them, get my rotation on. I guess we can just rotate off that axis right there for the 90, and then change to a point to point, get that point there, bring it down to that point, and we're in there for that side motion move thing that I was, feeling like I should have thought of in the beginning. Take this frame part here and the servo mount. Where's the servo mount? Right there, join them together, bam, and then take those two, that, this one here, this and frame, and join those together. Now we got those awkward lines that I be struggling with. We just got a little bit of cleanup to do. Nothing big and fancy. Right? That frame. So now the frame is called the frame, and the servo is called the frame. It don't make sense. Take that one off there. Copy that. Frame. And then this one. Servo mount. All right. So now we gotta doctor this thing back to life now. Yeah, we didn't. I tried it. Sometimes it'll let me get away with it, and sometimes it don't. But when it don't, I just gotta go the long way around like this. Lift the body, get rid of the access. You don't want to do that. That one's solid. Oh, we just got more. Servo side, same thing. Same thing. Only thing is with these, there's more parts to worry about losing because it cuts multiple layers instead of just having one layer. So through it all, you just gotta make sure you put, excuse me, you gotta make sure you put all of the parts back together, because if you don't, it's gonna be a bad day. Back together. You know. Nah, I think we made some sense out of this now. So we'll have to heat the brass certs on this side here. Let me see. Those knuckles we got. 0.13 for them. For that body, we still got to figure that part out. Upper swing arm, the mount, those are 18. .18. I don't recall those needing to be that wide. 0.18. I would have thought only needed a point 0.15 is what I'm feeling like. I made a mistake somewhere. Let me see. Swing a 0.2, 0.2, 0.23. 0.23 is I get because we doing that. Sunken area, but the 0.18s and then the 0.20s, I gotta look into. Gotta look into that. I gotta bring out the brass inserts. I'm pretty sure for the brass insert, I'm only dealing with I think I'm only dealing with a 0.16 at the most. Oh, I was wrong. It is a 19. Let me check again. No, yeah, it's a 16. So a 16 in the best way is what I should have made these, or made those holes. At 16. But an 18 wouldn't be bad too. Or I can go down healthy medium and do a 17. Let me see. So now I just gotta do some math, and if I'm at a 0.20, I'm gonna take them down a 0.03. So I can push 0.03 or 0.003. That's probably where I went wrong at, because I didn't add enough zeros when I was resizing these the first time. No, something still ain't right. Maybe I'm not mathing it right now. Maybe it should have been a 0.015. Let me do that. So let's go back. Push for a point 0.012. That might have been 0.012. My brain is slowing down on me. 0.012. 20. Why didn't just do the math on the calculator, y'all? Like yesterday, I had my calculator out and I got the measurements right because I had the calculator out. Now, if I want to do that measurement, I have to divide it in half, right? So I got to do 0.20 minus 0.17. That gives me a 0.03. Divide that in half. 0.015 is what I should have went with, but I went with a 0.12. So 0.015. It's gonna give me that number, that 0.17. Let's see that. That's what I did wrong. This one, I gotta do a 0.003 in order to get that right. 0.003. And that's going to, what happened there? Hurry up, do that. Here, there, 0.003. 17. All right, now for the 18 side. With 18, I just gotta bring them down 0.005. I'm mistaken. This one. Yeah, 0.00. What did I say? 0.005. 0.17, yeah, that's right. And the same thing on this side. No, that's the screw side. 0.005. 17. Okay. We where we need to be. So we got this how it need to be. Right, got the front and bottom mount together for this to actuate. When doing this portion here, there's gonna need to be a gap put in here for both these parts here. So we're gonna have to factor in a spacing mechanism for these and possibly have it to where it prints in on the sides of these swing arms, maybe, where it creates a space or a gap. Now that may be something to think about later. Right now, we might be able to pull it off with it just being a loose fit, or even for for I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see about that. But I think like we're at a good stopping point right now for what I wanted to accomplish today. We wanted to get these parts shorter, and we wanted to bring that space inside of there to really capture that. Let's get that frame back together though. We got this one and this one. Together. Okay. I thought we was gonna get to the back end today, but that's not the case. There was just so much more that was going on today as far as these mounts. So we have the first knuckle and the new knuckle happen. We got those. It's in the floor here. Front wheel, which I think I think we might have made good by making this move here and doing this the way we did it. We still haven't figured out this opposite side yet for this mountain portion. But we have this side secured. This side here, possibly because there is going to be this area here, so it's going to be attached there. This is the challenge. See, this is a challenge. There's always a challenge, right? There's always something that you don't account for that has to be accounted for. And some days it just, I'm going to have to possibly go back to that frame idea where the frame, I may have to wrap that frame around in the center area here. Like say instead of having this mounting point on this side, if I possibly bring the frame to this side here, and then I can have the frame to come up on this side. That would be the logical way that I can do that. Let me know what you think about this. I'm trying to figure out how to mount the swing arms on this side of the vehicle. This is the front side of the vehicle. Which I'm trying to decide whether to bring the frame. So what I did was I cut the frame out because the frame usually comes over the wheel well, right? So I got rid of that. The servo mount is going to be like somewhat of a support for the body on the top side here. So I got rid of that portion since we're gonna have this here as a mounting point. This bar here is gonna continue across the front of the hood already. So the idea is instead of needing the frame to run the traditional way from the side of the vehicle, that we can possibly get some tricky stuff going where we make this thing into an X shape or whatever. Like we weave it. Like I'm thinking like we weave it like an X, right? Where it comes from the inside here and then swerves back out to the outside for the rear axle to do its thing. That's something that I could play around with and like really see how it turns out. But if I make shapes like this, that kind of complicates how easy the frames are usually to print. But when I add that swerve in there, it's going to change the shape of that, and it won't be a flat print anymore. It'll have dimensions in both directions, in top and inside. So it won't complicate it. unless I make it a 2-point mounting ordeal where it's a multi-part piece. I think that'd probably be how I do. I just complicated this whole build by doing this, by not keeping the wheel well design, but you know, sacrificing that for a total bottom out of this chassis, it might be worth it in the long run, having gotten rid of that over rail. But also we might have there could possibly be a way to mount those two just by having an L that comes off from the servo mount and that swings down to this side here. That's a logical thing too. But we'll come back to it another day. I'll sleep on it, this idea. I think that it's going to be real cool regardless of what we decide to do. Derek, let me know. Because I know you are going to see this, chime in. Let me know what you feel about this. Should I go back to the traditional side rail that I was working on before? Should there be an attachment that swings off at the top of the servo mount that ties into those side holes to, you know, keep that sturdiness going with that, with the swing arms? Or should we, you know, build off of that base plate? You know, we still have that option too. We still have that plate that we've done nothing with. Where is it at? The center plate, right? Having a piece run down the middle like that could give us some mounting points to swing off to the side and mount those things. It's just, it's in the air. The more parts we add to this thing, the more screws that we'll need to build it. And I consider all that, you know. And I don't mind having screws. It's just going to add to your build. Yeah. But let me know what you feel like. And then we'll come back to this and we'll do it another day. But thanks for tuning in. Man, like, subscribe, share this if you like this content. I know it's not a lot of engineers that's doing this on the fly like what you see here tonight. But if you like this, please get in the comments, like the video so the algorithm can push it out to more people that could link with me, you know, and possibly do some collabs like me and Derek are doing on this one. But thanks for tuning in, and I will see y'all in the next one.